Why did Allah's doom come upon her for selling milk? After all, what sin had she committed? People started worshipping after seeing her grave. When people asked about this noble Quran Hafiz girl's reality to her paternal aunt, then what secret did this girl's paternal aunt reveal that left everyone shocked? Khadija used to live in this locality with her paternal aunt. Khadija's parents died in her childhood, and her paternal aunt was also a widow and didn't have any children. That's why Khadija lived with her widow paternal aunt, who raised and fed Khadija, thinking of her as more than her own child. Khadija's paternal aunt gave her Quran hifz along with schooling. Khadija had a great interest in memorizing the entire Holy Quran, which is why she became a Hafiz of the Quran. Her paternal aunt also taught her household work. Khadija's paternal aunt already had 3 goats and 1 cow. Khadija took great care of the cow. She maintained their household by selling its milk. Her paternal aunt always taught her how to work like a man, which made Khadija a very hard-working girl. She took care of the cow all day, milked it, and managed to provide 2 meals a day by selling the milk. At this time, an old woman was sitting near Khadija, insisting repeatedly for milk. But Khadija said directly that everyone gets milk in their house. The old woman started saying, "Look, Khadija child, don't say no. You give these people milk too. Actually, my daughter-in-law and son have come from the city to live with me. You give me 2 kilos of milk in the evening for them. Your house's milk is very pure. I don't want to take milk from another house. People nowadays mix too much in the milk. You know that every woman in this locality takes milk from you, and people from outside also come to your house for milk. The milk from Khadija's house makes very delicious curd and tea." Khadija replied, "Mother, as you are saying, I need 4 kilos of milk a day. Where will I get so much milk? If I mix milk, then much more milk can be made, but that wouldn't be pure milk. Mother, do repent. I can say no to people, but I can't mix it, and I also can't give anyone milk by taking another's milk." Khadija clearly declined. The old woman said, "Child, I am prepared to give you 200 instead of 100. Child, don't refuse me. I like your house's milk only, and I don't want my son to drink any mixed milk. Anyway, it's only for a few days." Khadija stood up and said, "No, mother, I can't give milk," and went away to her room. Khadija's paternal aunt pardoned the woman, saying, "My daughter is a little bit noble and virtuous. That's why she can't give you milk by taking another's milk." After the old woman left, Khadija's paternal aunt asked her, "Daughter, why are you pushing the already fasting person? After all, why don't you want to give her milk? At least some money would come to the house." Khadija responded, "Paternal aunt, I can't do wrong things like this. I can't do mixing." After saying this, Khadija took her scarf and went to do ablution. Her paternal aunt also became silent because whenever she said things like this, Khadija would reply in the same way. Her paternal aunt loved Khadija a lot. Her paternal aunt also took the goats and cows outside, while Khadija stayed back and took care of the cow all day. By working hard like this, Khadija made a lot of things for her dowry. Then her paternal aunt found a very good and noble guy and got him married to Khadija. That guy was surely poor, but he respected her a lot. Khadija's paternal aunt told the guy during the marriage that there was no shelter for her except this girl. That's why she wanted to keep her daughter and son-in-law in her home after marriage. Khadija's in-law agreed, so even after Khadija's marriage, she continued to live with her paternal aunt. Her husband did only hard laboring. The money he earned made it difficult to run the home. Khadija continued to sell the cow's milk. After some time passed, Khadija found out that she was going to be a mother. Now, Khadija had difficulty taking care of the cow. On one side, Khadija had the happiness of pregnancy, and on the other side, her husband got fired from his work. After hearing this, Khadija started crying and panicking, saying, "What will happen to me now? Even in this situation, do I have to do heavy work? Do I have to do many tasks? Will I never get peace?" Though Khadija's husband took great care of his wife, when Khadija went to milk the cow, her husband would make food and do other household chores because the cow wouldn't give milk from anyone else's hand. Her husband tried several times, but the cow just wouldn't give milk, so Khadija had to do this work reluctantly. Now, Khadija often argued with her husband over work. She started being rude and neglectful towards him. When he sat down to eat, she would say, "Neither useful for work nor for tasks, an enemy of the harvest." That poor guy would eat just a little bit, then stand up and go outside silently. Even though he searched for work every day, it was Allah's will. He couldn't find any work. Time passed, and 9 months were completed. Khadija gave birth to a lovely son. Khadija's paternal aunt and husband were overjoyed to see the child. Her husband was distributing sweets everywhere in the locality to celebrate the birth of his child. With the birth of Khadija's son, her husband also found work. However, the owner where he worked was very strict and treated the laborers poorly. The owner only cared about work. Every laborer there worked out of necessity, and the owner often used foul language towards them. Meanwhile, life at Khadija's house was very difficult. As her son grew a little, she started taking care of the cow again, hoping to run the house more smoothly by selling milk. When Khadija used to take care of the cow sincerely, the cow also used to give much more milk. Whenever any women used to come to Khadija to take milk, then Khadija used to ask permission from the women and used to add water in her utensil and give it to her. When Khadija used to give milk to everyone, then she would heat the milk which used to remain at the end and keep it for her child, so that the child would start eating cow's milk slowly. In this way, she was maintaining regularity in her house because Khadija's husband didn't have enough salary, due to which she could maintain the extra cost. House's roti, lentils, and the cost of the baby were passing with great difficulty. Then one day it happened that there was commotion in their house. It was terribly raining that day. Khadija thought that the rain was light, so she should go to take the cow's food. When Khadija went to take the cow's food at the locality, then at that moment, due to heavy rain, it was slippery everywhere. And when Khadija stepped her foot, she accidentally slipped and fell on a stone at the corner of the locality. Her head hit the stone, causing extreme bleeding from her head, so people from the locality informed her paternal aunt. Khadija's paternal aunt started crying very loudly and screaming. The whole locality gathered, listening to her screams. Khadija's husband received the news very quickly. At this time, Khadija's husband got leave from his work, but he was taking overtime so that he could save some money and buy some toys for his son. No other laborer was working at this time. When Khadija's husband got the news about Khadija, he ran blindly to her. Where he was working, he locked the warehouse. When he was leaving, he saw a very important diary, which had calculations written inside, remained outside. He immediately kept the diary in his pocket and ran to his house. He immediately tried to take his wife to the doctor, but Khadija died on the way. Even after going to the hospital, the doctor said that she was dead. Khadija's husband was remembering a lot of things about his wife. He was seeing his child while panicking and crying. Khadija's paternal aunt was also crying by looking at her daughter. Khadija's paternal aunt would look at Khadija sometimes, then at her innocent child, and would scream and cry. Khadija's husband was also crying, wondering how his innocent child would live without his mother. He was so small right now that he would only drink his mother's milk. Recently, Khadija had started feeding him cow's milk just 2 days ago. Thinking about all these things, her husband became heartbroken. Everyone in the locality was regretting Khadija's sudden death. No one knew that Khadija would leave this world silently in her youth. The women standing there were also speaking of her good deeds, because Khadija was a very noble and virtuous girl. She used to take care of everyone. The women standing there kept talking about Khadija's good qualities. Khadija's paternal aunt and her husband's condition was worsening because of their crying. Both of them were full of sorrow. The burial time came near, so Khadija's funeral was carried to the nearest graveyard to bury her. When Khadija's husband came down to lay Khadija in the grave, his diary fell inside the grave from his pocket. This diary was his owner's, where he used to work. It contained many important people's calculations. Khadija's husband didn't realize that something had fallen from his pocket. When people returned home after burying Khadija, her house was completely silent. Khadija's cow, whom she loved very much and who didn't give milk to anyone except her, was seen by her paternal aunt. Her paternal aunt started crying very loudly after seeing the cow because she was hiding so much sorrow in her heart. First, her sorrow of becoming a widow, then Khadija's parents, her own brother and sister-in-law, had passed away, and now Khadija's sudden passing, leaving behind an innocent child. Khadija's husband consoled her paternal aunt, who was crying too much, while sitting with his child in his lap. How could a mother rest? The niece who had closed the lap had passed away suddenly. Khadija's paternal aunt couldn't believe it even now. She kept saying again and again that Khadija had just fed the cow water and given her a meal. It was very difficult for her to believe. Even now, her son had started crying bitterly because it was evening, and every child searches for their mother in the evening. Khadija's son was also searching for his mother, wanting to sleep with his head in his mother's lap. But now, what could the innocent child know that he has to live like this for the rest of his life? Khadija's husband didn't want to go to his owner for work now. He wanted to take care of his child and paternal aunt. His wife's sorrow made him very upset. That's why he wanted to talk to his owner that he couldn't come to work for a few days. And when Khadija's husband touched his pocket, the diary was not in his pocket. Now he started thinking, where has that diary gone? After thinking a lot, he only remembered that he had kept the diary in his pocket. After seeing her son-in-law's worried face, Khadija's paternal aunt also started asking him, "Child, what is the matter? Why are you worried?" Then he said, "Paternal mum, a very important diary was in my pocket. I don't know where it has fallen. I don't know if it has fallen in the mosque or in the graveyard." At that moment, a thought came to his mind. Did the diary fall when I came down into the grave to put my wife down? Because the diary was small, and maybe I didn't feel it fall out. He became very tense when this thought came because his owner was a very strict and angry man. Anyway, that diary was very important. His owner had made his life difficult. If he didn't get the diary, he might take his life because his owner cared more about work than humans. He was thinking this when his owner's call came. He started saying, "Come, give me my diary so that I can write today's calculations and write the new laborers' names who would come in the morning." Hearing this, that poor guy's condition became bad because he couldn't even tell his owner that the diary had fallen somewhere. The only thing that came out of his mouth was, "Owner, I will give your diary in the morning." Now he has to find the diary at night. He thought a lot, but his thoughts would stop only at the graveyard. After thinking a lot, he went to the graveyard. It was almost 12:01 at night. His son was sleeping with his paternal aunt. Khadija's husband started taking his steps to the graveyard at night. His heart was beating very fast. He was very tense. He was fearing a lot. He had never come to the graveyard alone at night before. The graveyard was a little distance away from his house, and he couldn't understand what he should do. It was also his compulsion that the diary was very important, which he had dropped somewhere due to his imprudence. While he was searching for the diary in the night, at 12:31, he reached the graveyard. He was watching the death's bequest. Khadija's husband was feeling uneasiness. He reached the grave now where he had buried his wife in the evening. He had started digging the mud from the leg's side. His intention was only to find his diary. He had dug a few parts now until the gravedigger came and started saying angrily, "What are you doing? Are you a shroud stealer?" Khadiza's husband Umair immediately faced the torchlight to his own face direction, and the gravedigger started saying after seeing him, "Hey, aren't you him whose wife was buried at night?" "Umair, I buried my wife in the evening, but while burying her, my expensive diary fell down. It is small in size and very expensive. I have someone's property. I have to return it back. If it is possible, then help me." The gravedigger, along with Khadiza's husband, started helping him. Both of them dug the grave well. Now Khadiza's husband Umair's fear was ended, and he expected to find the diary in it. After some time, half of the grave was dug. When Umair looked inside the grave, Khadiza's husband was shocked by what he saw. He started running back, screaming. The gravedigger immediately put the mud back on the grave because he was sweating. The gravedigger started saying to Khadiza's husband, "Hey man, what kind of woman was your wife that doom in the grave is going like this?" "Umair, Khadiza was a very good woman. She was very noble. Everyone would praise her. I have never seen her doing anything sinful, so why is this doom happening in the grave?" After seeing this doom, he started panicking, wondering what sin his wife could be getting punished for. The gravedigger said to Khadiza's husband, "You should manage to get another new diary. Your owner probably had some calculations in memory because it is very difficult to find this diary. You have seen with your own eyes, right? That your wife's doom is not ending and in which situation she is in. You should do tawbah, istighfar, on her behalf." Khadiza's husband reached his home while crying. After seeing him, her paternal aunt started saying, "Child, where have you gone at this night? I was getting worried too much because of you. Umair, my peace, happiness, everything got destroyed. Everything is robbed." And he was shaking very badly till now. Khadiza's paternal aunt got scared after seeing his condition and started saying, "Child, at least tell me what is the matter. Where have you been all night?" "Umair, paternal aunt, I went to the graveyard for finding the diary and the scene I saw there. Maybe I couldn't take the breath of happiness in my whole life after seeing this." After seeing him, even the paternal aunt got scared and started saying, "Umair, child, why are you riddling the puzzle? At least tell me what's the matter." "Umair, paternal aunt, when Khadiza's grave was dug so that I could find my diary, I remained shocked seeing the scene inside the grave." "Paternal aunt, a noble girl like Khadiza was getting such doom I couldn't even say it in front of you. Fire was burning on Khadiza's lips and she was screaming badly. I opened half of the grave till now. I was only seeing her lips, which had become bigger in size, just like a weightful thing has been hanged on it. The rest of her body was looking safe. After some time her lips fired out, and after a few moments, the fire burnt out again. At first I couldn't understand whether it was Allah's doom or something else. The gravedigger told me that it was divine punishment and it was only burning her lips. Umair, paternal aunt, I can't understand why Khadiza's lips were burning out of fire. She used to do remembrance of Allah all the time with these lips. She never did something wrong with these lips. If she used to argue in any matter with me, she used to apologize right then. She was a very good and noble woman." Khadiza's husband and paternal aunt asked for prayer of forgiveness for Khadiza all night while crying. When Fajr Azan happened, Khadiza's paternal aunt started saying, "Umair, you do one thing, tell everything quietly to the imam of the mosque and find out what's the matter. Why is this happening to my daughter? And what mistake did my daughter make? Umair, the imam of the mosque is almost a noble old man. He would help us in this matter definitely." Umair also liked his paternal aunt's words because if someone could find out the solution to this matter, it is only Imam Sir. When he went to offer Fajr namaz in the morning, he offered namaz. When all of the praying Muslims went outside, he told all the matter to the Imam Sir while crying, "Imam, I want to meet Khadiza's paternal aunt." He came to his house with Imam Sir and met him with Khadiza's paternal aunt. "Imam, mother, tell me, didn't Khadiza used to gossip about someone or commit any other sin which you have seen done by her mouth?" Paternal aunt, "No, my daughter was only a dairy woman. She used to work with milk. She used to take care of the cow and goat all day. She used to love these animals a lot. She used to stay busy with these animals. Where did she have the leisure to go to people's houses or call her friends to chat with them? Imam, would Khadija used to keep someone's property? Would she mix water in someone's milk? Or would she reduce the weight of these people's milk? Paternal aunt, no. My child didn't used to drop a little water. She never had greed in this matter, that if she added water, then one more house's people would come to take milk. Khadija never did this. Imam, mother, think again. Any mistake can be done due to which dooms were happening only on her lips, but still she definitely did some sin, knowingly or unknowingly, due to which she was a victim of dooms. Because of property, we will have to truth question case. I think it is a property case in this matter because I am myself impressed by Khadija's good deeds. Imam Sir also used to know Khadija very well. Khadija had memorized the Quran from him. Lady, think it and tell something like this about your daughter, which she used to do, which had a connection to her lips. Yeah, I had an offense with Khadija's one work. She had the habit of drinking raw milk from the beginning. If any woman used to be late to take milk from our house, then Khadija used to keep their milk in her own utensil, and the cream of the raw milk also used to come in these utensils. When she used to come to take the milk, then Khadija would pour milk from her utensil into their utensil, and the milk which used to stick to Khadija's utensils, she used to eat it clearly so that the milk doesn't get wasted and milk can reach the customer, and she didn't used to mix water in it. Khadija used to say, no paternal aunt. People would say that milk from Khadija's house comes light and she pours water into it. Imam Sir said that maybe the doom's reason is the cause of this raw milk which she used to drink clearly from the utensil. Khadija's paternal aunt also said yes. When Khadija's death happened, she gave a woman milk and ate the leftover raw milk and went to bring cows food. Maybe during her death the milk's taste remained in her mouth. Maybe that's why the doom is happening on her. If the person for whom we have measured milk in our vessel, and when we give him milk it remains in our vessel, then we should clean it well and pour it into his vessel. He gives us the full amount money of milk. We shouldn't keep anyone's leftover one drop of milk. This is also counts as property. Imam Sir said that it is better that you pray for her forgiveness, and everyone in the locality who used come to take milk from Khadija, tell Khadija's this habit to every one of them, and you ask forgiveness behalf of Khadija from these people. Khadija's paternal aunt worried a lot after hearing these. It is seen as a normal matter, but due to this, Khadija would have strict doom, which hasn't been in anyone's knowledge. Then Khadija's paternal aunt called these people at her house, those who used to take milk from Khadija. Khadija's paternal aunt apologized hand in front of everyone and told them everything, but it was not a big deal. That's why everyone forgave Khadija immediately. It was not even a sin in some people's vision, but the fact which is a small deal in front of people, that becomes very heavy in our deeds in front of Allah. But here, the matter was about property. Maybe that was the reason Khadija got caught, because of this sin. Everyone in the locality was impressed by Khadija's good appearance, that Khadija never mixed water in her milk, nor did violation of right, neither cancelled someone's milk to give another one. No percent of greed used to came in her heart. That's why all the people forgave Khadija and went to their home. Then at this night, her paternal aunt started saying to Umair, that child, you must go to Khadija's grave for your diary and dig it up and see the inside, and tell me whether the punishment has been removed from Khadija's grave. Actually, Khadija's paternal aunt wanted to know that this little drop of milk was actually the cause of the punishment that Khadija was subjected to. Then that same night, Umair went to his wife's grave and started digging his wife's grave together with gravedigger. When he saw the scene inside the grave, Khadija's dead body was perfectly fine. Now there was not any kind, if punishment on it. Instead, fragrance was coming from there. His diary was also there. He quickly grabbed his diary and closed his wife's grave, as it was then returned home, and narrated the entire incident of Khadija's grave to his paternal aunt. Then Khadija's paternal aunt thanked Allah because Allah's punishment has been removed from her daughter. When the villagers came to know about this, everyone was surprised that such a virtuous girl who was suffering punishment because of a small thing. All the villagers repented and asked for forgiveness, and since that day, everyone tried to fix their own affairs in terms of trust. They started to be careful. If anyone had anything belonging to someone, they would return it back. Sometimes the sins we consider very small are not small in the eyes of Allah. Just like these small sins can become huge mountains for us. May Allah make our graves' destiny easy, and at the end may Allah protect us from being embarrassed in front of all people. May Allah grant us the opportunity to learn from such incidents. Ameen Ya Rabbul Alamin. Dear friends, with the intention of goodness and reward, please share the video with others. Who knows, it may touch someone's heart and its reward in our destiny. If you have learned something from the incident, please like this video and don't forget to subscribe to our channel for similar videos.